Okay, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a first impression on the new Naked Reloaded palette by Urban Decay. So let's just get straight into it. If you're not already subscribed, like and comment, and then we shall do the rest later. Okay, so this palette was $69, I believe. Yep, $69. That's Australian dollars, not US dollars. I'm not sure what it is in US dollars, sorry. But here in Mecca where it's sold, it is $69. And the packaging is beautiful. It's like this bronzy kind of thing. Okay, so when you open it up, it's got this beautiful, like, I don't know how you would describe this material, like satin? Is it satin? I don't think it's satin. Anyway, it's sort of like satin, but it kind of like, it feels like it's raised up a little bit. Kind of reminds me of a couch. A couch? So that's the packaging outside. You've got some information here on the back. Pretty much the same as a box, except you don't get the color shades or anything like that, and it's not shiny. Well, the writing's shiny, but the whole thing isn't shiny. Okay, so then you open it up, and that's the color scheme in here. Now you get 12 shades. So let's do some maths here. 12 divided by 69, what is it? You tell me. While I whip out my calculator. 12 divided by 69. So it's about 0.71 cents a shade. And the shade grams, they're about 1.4, 1.3, 1.1 grams. That's alright, I guess. You can tell it's a beautiful range of colours. You've got this gorgeous pink shade here. Mind you, I haven't swatched anything. So, it seems like a beautiful colour range. I'm pretty sure you could use this on all different skin tones. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I'm sorry, I'm not someone of colour, clearly. But I think you could do some really beautiful looks for everybody. So something that you might notice with this palette is they haven't included the brush. Now I remember with the other Naked palettes there was always a brush. That is clearly not there. Maybe the palette size, like pans are bigger, as in like the actual pans, maybe they're a bit bigger. These two end ones are definitely bigger than the rest. But I just feel like overall the palette is a lot slimmer, a lot more compact. So I definitely find this easier to travel with because it's not taking up a lot of space. I personally don't own any of the Naked palettes. I did think about the Naked Cherry, but I haven't yet purchased it. But I don't know, to me, from what I've seen in store, the pan sizes don't look any bigger. It's just the palette looks a lot more thinner and compact. So let's go ahead and swatch these shades. Okay, so we'll start from this end here. This shade here is Bribe. So that's there on my finger. Oh, definitely powdery. But that's like a creamy off-white. Then we've got Barely Baked right here, which is like a gold shimmery shade. They feel really smooth and soft to the touch. That's a beautiful gold, soft gold. Then we've got Angel Fire here, which is like a pink silverish shimmer. I don't know if that's picking up, but anyway. So if we place that there. Again, really quite light. I would say it's quite true to the pan. Maybe I'd like it to be a little bit more pigmented. Next is Retro, which is this pink salmon shade. That's a swatch there on my finger. That is quite nice, quite beautiful. but I kind of expected it to be a little bit more brighter. I thought this would be the more brighter shade in the palette, but that's their swatched. Next is this bronzy here, like a lighter bronzy shade compared to this shade next to it, but we'll get to that. This one's called Reputation. So I'm cleaning my fingers off, by the way. This again is a shimmer. They are very, very buttery, as I mentioned. Also, you get six mattes and 6 shimmers, from what I can see here. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so the next one is Burn, which I find is a darker bronzing shade. Oh, that's so nice. Feel like it's got a hint of a black base to it. Next is Endgame, this dark brown matte shade. So that's that one there. I kind of feel like it's a bit patchy. Next is Dreamweaver, which is this it's got like a brown base with some silver in it, silver reflex. There's quite a kickback in that, but let's swatch it right here. Oh, that is really pretty though. Really, really pretty. Next is Distilled. This, would you say taupey shade? I'd say taupey shade. It's like a shimmer as well. So I'll place this right here. Definitely bronzy. I don't know if you guys can see. So like we've started off light and sweet and cute and pretty, you know. And then we've pretty much gone down to bronze shades. Next is Buck, which is a matte shade. And I'll place that right here. Oh, that's gorgeous. I really like that. Second last shade is Boundaries. Again, very, very buttery and smooth. I might have to put this one here, sorry guys. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really, really nice. And then the end shade here is called Blur. And again, very, very buttery to the touch. And I think I'll put this one here. Sorry, guys. I kind of feel like Bribe and Blur are the same. Hold on, let me get up. Let me show you guys what I mean. So I'll swatch Bribe on this finger and then Blur on this finger. Well, I guess Bribe is a bit more brighter than Blur, but I think I could have done without those two. Maybe a different shade would have been nice. You can see that I've swatched it here and it's kind of like breaking apart. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oop, there we go, there goes a chunk. Alright, so I'm going to prime my eyelids. I'm just going to use my P. Louise base, this humongous base. I've already got my foundation and concealer and brows on, just to save some time. So I'll quickly put this base on. I'll put it on both eyes, I guess. Okay, so I've applied the base. I'll zoom you guys in. Hello there, hello. Alright, so very clearly when you look at the palette, I think it's quite obvious that really all you can do is neutral shades, hence the naked side of it. I kind of really want to use this shade here, which is Retro. I think it's a beautiful shade. However, I don't know how this shade's gonna work with all these shades, because technically if you think about it, let me zoom you guys out for a moment. If you think about it, when you look at the palette, you can already tell like this side is beautiful together. You've got your transition, you've got your deeper shade, you've got your shimmer shades. You know, this could be a highlight shade, like, you know, a matte brow bone highlighter. You can use one of these as your inner corner highlighter. And then you come onto this side of the palette and you've got this matte shade here, the retro shade, and then all these are shimmer except for Bribe. I feel like this shade is a bit out of place, I guess. but I'm sure we can make it work. I'll just start, I think what I'll do is I'll start off with the shades on this end of the spectrum, and then I'll try and figure out a way to include retro. I'm just gonna grab a kind of small fluffy brush. This is by BH Cosmetics number 3, and I'm actually going to start with End Game, which is this dark shade right here. Kickback is normal, I guess. Focus, you son of a... It's quite normal. I don't know, I don't mind kickback in palette. I find that it doesn't worry me. Alright, and I'm going to apply this to my outer crease here. Immediately there's fallout, so maybe me doing my base first wasn't a smart idea. Okay, I'm going to start blending out these edges here. Once I've packed down the colour, I'm just going to start to soften out the edges. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's fine, we can perfect it later. Alright, I'm just going to lay this shade down for the time being. And I'm really going to try my hardest just to keep this to the outer corner. Half the time I feel like I say that, but I never do it. Okay, so this side doesn't have as much fallout as this side, but I did tap my brush a little bit more harder on this side than I did on this side, so that might be it. Okay, so I'm just going to use the same brush, and I'm just going to soften out these edges right here. Really just softening it out and kind of start extending it out. Again on this side. I'm just using little flicky motions. It seems to be blending quite easily. Okay, I'll leave it at that for the time being. Okay, next I think I will take a little bit of Buck, which is this shade right here, which is, I find, like a cooler brown. And we're just going to start blending out these edges. Now I've knocked off quite a lot of the pigment, so hopefully we don't have any issues with fallout, which we don't seem to be having. I'm also taking this colour towards my inner corner, so I want all the darkness to be on the outer portion of my eye, and I'm really starting to wiggle that out and blend that out. I feel like it's starting to get a little bit muddy here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's not too bad, but I also feel like we've lost some of the intensity in that crease from that darker shade. So I'll just go in with that first brush that we used. No extra product on it, just to help us kind of like mesh it together. Just taking a clean fluffy brush just to go over that. Yeah, do you guys see that? Like there's pigmentation right here, but nothing. It's alright, I'll just keep using Buck. I feel like Buck is a gorgeous shade. I really like this shade. This dark brown shade, I feel like I'm just losing it. I'm going to take a little bit more of that darker shade. Oh, that shade is Endgame, by the way. And I'm just gonna... I think maybe I'll just have to blend it out like this, maybe. Yeah. I feel like that's a little bit better. I'll take my clean blending brush once more and give these edges a once over. Let's go ahead on the other side and do the same thing. So taking Buck, or Bucked, I should say, and I'm going to work this into the crease here and in this inner corner here. Really work that in. Now, as I said in the swatches, the mattes are buttery, like they are so buttery. I mean, I guess that's pretty. Immediately I feel like I shouldn't have used the technique of adding the darker shade first and then blending out with the lighter shades. I feel like I should have just straight away gone in with the lighter shade then the darker shade, maybe that would have helped a heap more. But that's okay. We're going to continue on. Now, as I said, I really want to use Retro, which is this shade right here. So I'm thinking of picking some up on my brush. Oh, my brush picked up quite a lot. And I think what I'll do, just to give... Bitch, please. Just to give my crease a little bit of pajance, I might just apply it right here. Just as a soft pop of colour. So where buck and end game meet, I'm just gonna mainly focus it there. I definitely imagine this shade to be a lot more vibrant than what it is. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm just gonna try and fix this outer corner here. As much as I think it's pretty, I'm not really that happy with it. I'm just taking whatever's left on my brush and I'm just gonna run it into my crease. Okay, what do we think so far? Okay. Alright, so we're going to move on to the lid. I'm not going to cut my lid today. I really want to try Dreamweaver, which is this dark brown base with the silver shimmer through it. That's how it's picked it up. A little bit of kickback, not a lot with the shimmer. I'm not going to wet the brush. I'm just going to see how it will work dry. What I might do is I want to see if it is if it intensifies more if I apply a little bit of Fix Plus, which I shall do right now. Let's see. It's a bit more vibrant. It's a beautiful colour. Really, really pretty colour. Definitely quite smoky, like it's a smoky shade. I'm just going to take a little bit more of Endgame just to marry the two together here on the corner. Okay, so that's what we're looking like so far. I'm not sold on that retro shade with this look, to be honest. Okay, so for the shimmer on the inner portion of my eye, I might go in with Reputation. I'm just going to flip my brush around and just use some Reputation here. So that's how it looks like there. Judging by Dreamweaver, I'm definitely going to wet this shade. So I've just sprayed a little bit of Fix Plus on it. I'm just going to apply that to the inner portion. Oh, that's a very, very pretty shade. You don't want to really dig in, by the way, with these shimmer shades. They are quite flaky. I don't know if you guys can see that. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and take Blur, this shade right here, on a fluffy brush, and look at this. So ready? That's the amount of like bloody kickback. Anyway, I'm thinking whether this shade is like the Melt Cosmetics Blur Shadow, where it just helps to blur out the edges. So I've taken that on like a little blending brush, and I'm gonna see if it's gonna help me kind of like fix these edges here and kind of tone down. What do we think? I mean, it's okay. Again, not 100% sold on it. I'm going to go back into Endgame. I don't know why I'm so adamant about it. It just doesn't feel like it's doing much for me. So next I'll be taking Barely Baked, which is this gold shimmery shade. And what I'll do is I'll apply that here on my brow bone. Oh, that's gorgeous. I haven't even wet the brush. That's really quite pretty. Nice. Then what I think I'll do is I'm actually going to try and work my way up to the darkness. So I'm going to do the steps a bit backwards. I'm going to go in with Butt, which is that light brown shade here. And I'm going to put that on my lower lash line. I'm going to really smoke this shade right down because I really want to make it quite smoky. Thinking about endgame, we're going to grab that, a bit of that, run that on our lower lash line. And then I'm going to take Barely Baked once again. I feel like the shimmer shades have died down a bit, like they've become a bit dull. So I'm just going to touch them up. I feel like that's a bit better. I'm just going to dust off any fallout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my NYX retractable eyeliner in black. I'm going to put this on the waterline because I feel like this look is quite smoky. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, put some lashes on, finish off the rest of my face, and then I'll come back and let you guys know my final thoughts. Okay, so here is the eye look with the lashes on. Okay, and this is the full look. I've got Benefit's Hoola Bronzer, Ofra's Beverly Hills highlighter, and I've got Dose of Colours Truffle liquid lipstick. Okay, so my first impressions on the Reloaded palette. First things first, I'm so sorry, I must do this. I don't know why I didn't do it at the start. You ready for this pawn? Ready? Oh yeah, baby. My first impression. I can tell you that this will definitely be suited for multiple skin tones. As I was saying before, I feel like the shades here are quite a lot darker than what they look like in the pan. The mattes are quite nice. They feel beautiful, very buttery, very soft. They blend out really well. I don't know whether it's my technique that I'm using, my favorite technique, which is to pack the darker shade on and then, you know, blend it out with the lighter colors. So I don't know if it's that technique, you know, maybe I should have used the transition first and then work my way up to the darker shades. But I'm not 100% sold on this shade here, Endgame. I don't know, I feel like it goes on really, really dark and really pigmented, but then when you blend it out, it kind of loses that. Again, as I said, maybe it was the technique that I used. I do tend to, as I said, use that technique quite a lot because that's how I like to play with my colored shadows. So maybe it's just a matter of changing up my technique. I'm not too sure. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But, you know, these are just your standard transition shades. The shimmers, they can be quite chunky when you go in with the brush and apply it. It goes a bit chunky in the pan. But when applied wet, they are quite beautiful. I love this shade. It's very smoky, very beautiful. This retro shade here, to be honest, I was expecting more. Like the way I saw it through posts like on Instagram and stuff, I don't know why, I just assumed it was that pop of color. It was going to be nice and vibrant, but it's just really dulled down, if that makes sense. Like I know you probably saw it in the swatches, but yeah, I don't know, I expected it to be a lot brighter than what it was, and I think that really disappointed me because I think that could be the pop of color in this palette that would change every look, for example, you know what I mean. So that was, I don't know, in my eyes, a bit disappointing. It's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible, but I would have liked to see a little bit more punch to it. The Blur and the Bribe shades, look, I know Bribe is a lot brighter than Blur. As I said, I think maybe it might be a dupe for the Melt Cosmetics Blur eyeshadow where it helps you blend out your edges. In saying that, I don't think they needed both shades. Like, I understand this could be like a matte brow bone highlight. That's cool. I don't see the need to have both those shades. and they are the biggest pan size in this palette. So clearly I can understand that they were thinking, right, these are the two shades that maybe everyone will be using the most of. You know, setting down your base if that's what you do, or a matte highlighter. That's all well and good, but I don't think there was a need for both. I would have liked to see maybe some cooler tones or pinkier, brownier tones, just to go with these two shades or three shades here. I just feel like, yeah, cool, you could use Retro in your crease and then Reputation and Angel Fire as a highlight, but if you wanted to go that depth, I don't feel like a lot of these colours would match that, if that makes sense. Do I think this palette is worth it? Now look, I didn't have the original Naked palette, so I can't compare the two. However, if you have neutral palettes already in your collection, I don't see the point in purchasing it. But I just feel like this is something that everyone would have in their collection. I understand that, you know, it's part of the Naked range. I guess if you have the whole Naked range, then sure, why not? If you want to collect this one, go ahead, buy it. But it wasn't something, from a first impression, it wasn't something that completely wowed me, or the formula was something groundbreaking, you know. I also think a lot of these could be duped out as well, and considering it's $69, I would prefer to pay the extra, if my calculations are right, an extra $6 for the Sultry palette, which has a shade similar to this, but it is a lot more vibrant. Like, that's a pop of color in that palette. You know what I mean? I guess perfect for everyday. I could see myself using it for everyday use, but I don't feel like I'd die if I didn't have it, basically. Sorry, Urban Decay. I do love your products, but this was a meh for me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, just like a side note, I don't know, maybe it is just me, maybe it's the lighting, maybe I'm just being too picky, but I feel like the shimmers dull down after a while. Like, you apply them and they're quite nice, but then they just dull down, so I hate that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. If there's any other palettes or foundations or concealers or a collection that you'd like me to review, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one, I guess. Thank you so much, bye!